Wits Cat, and today on this live, if it's your first time to a live, make sure you look below on this post and see the disclaimer if you want to join in on the live. If you decide to comment, your comments can be seen by everyone. And just want you to know that so you can keep yourself safe. I think you're fine in watching the video. But I just want that preemptive. Today is about, gosh, I forgot what I called this. It's, hold on a minute. I'm sorry. I'm having a day today. I think that it was about being, choose who you want to be in the moment. And so we can always choose who we want to be in any moment. And I think that it's important when we start to understand this idea of what I wanted to talk about today, which is that every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. That's by James Clear. And there is so many differences in the way that people approach other people based on their character, of course, based on their culture, based on men and women, which is something I'm going to kind of hit today in this idea of that Maya Angelou touches on, which is we're more alike, my friend, than we are unalike. And one of the things that happened to me this week is that my son decided to get me a book. And please, men, just hear me out on this one because if anybody's been at the page a long time, they understand that I want us all together at the table and I want us to all learn different things from each other. And the book that he got me that is written by a man is How to Piss Off Men. And I started to read it and I started to understand that the way that men have a problem with a woman that uses the word no, as this young man talks about. He says, this one's a classic, total banger. It's been putting numbers on the board since the formation of Indo-European languages. This is by Kyle Peru. And I think it's important that in our cultures that we've been taught as females, as women, to learn not to say no. You have to say yes. You have to be agreeable. And it takes a lot to stand up to that, to say, I'm not going to say yes, putting my needs aside so that your needs are answered. And I think men have that same principle. Last week, I talked about this idea of the damsel in distress and the knight in shining armor. We don't need to have men trying to be the knight in shining armor. And we don't have to have women trying to be the damsel in distress. Both of them are trying to get their needs met. And I think that's important for both to understand. And if we take the words of James Clear, he says, every action you take is a vote for the type of person that you want to become. And I may have already said that. But I want you to think about these quotes. I'm going to use 3 of them. One of his quotes, Kyle Peru's quotes, is, you seem to be having a lot of feelings right now. And men have been using, well, you're pretty emotional right now, for years to be kind of like a joke or to be dismissive of a woman and the way that she feels. And society's been kind of dismissive of men because they shouldn't feel anything other than happiness and maybe anger. And the happiness should be kind of subdued. So I want you guys to give that some thought. It's not true when you say this to somebody, to a man. You seem to be having a lot of feelings right now, but it will be by the time that you're finished. So I'm wondering how this all sits with men and how this sits with women, because I know how I feel about it. I just want you guys to give it some thought. Think about that. This one's, oh my God, you're such a boy boss. When men wouldn't have any problem saying, you're such a girl boss. It's like, if you say it to a man, he says it's like a girl boss, but only a boy. And I think the best index to a person's character is how he treats people who cannot do any good, who he cannot do any good. I'm sorry, messing that up. The best index to a person's character is A, how he treats people who can't do him any good, and B, how he treats people who can't fight back. Anonymous. And I think that's the crux of what I'm getting at, is understand that we each have our different positions, and maybe you can start looking at your position as a man or your position as a woman and try to come and meet people. Like Maya Angelou says, people are more alike than they are unalike. And I do believe that's true. I think that when we start to have conversations that call each other out for behavior, this is one of the behaviors that I'm actually talking about that men do really well, is they say things like this and then they say, I was just joking, if they say something rude and dismissive to women. Can't you just take a joke? But that's the idea of this book, is if the men had this said to them, how would they feel? And most of them would have trouble. It's like this whole idea of, in our language, that we've always used the word he until of late, that he said this and he did this and he did that. As a woman, I've had to look at that and go, okay, I can identify myself even though the word is he. And I don't identify as a he, I identify as a she. So I've had to overlook that. So maybe instead of looking at something and saying, okay, this was written by a man, put she in there and see how it feels against your bias if you're a man. Put he in it and see how it affects your bias if you're a woman. And maybe we can have deeper conversations with each other as a group, as people who have suffered from abuse from other people, who make up stuff, who do these things behind closed doors that other people don't see, like these actions about how to hurt women and how to hurt men. Why don't we just be good people? Take care of each other. Show love. I hope this helps in some way or form. And y'all take care. I have had a bad day with my air, and so I'm going to bow out kind of early. And let me know what you think in this. And again, the name of the book is 109 Things to Say to Shatter the Male Ego. How to Piss Men Off by Kyle Prue. And I took his words and decided that maybe men could see in his words how offensive they have been for thousands and thousands of years. to women. I know it's not all the men that are here. I know it's not their fault. But I just want you to see if you can see a difference. I hope it speaks to you. And the same could be said about women. I hope it speaks to you in the fact that you can still use your voice and not worry about being dismissed. And you can still understand that men have the right to feel and they have the right to express something and not being dismissed in their community or our community as a whole as being less than because they said something that would be humiliating in the male culture. Something to think about. Take care. Bye bye.